The UK has cleared Microsoft's recent acqui-hire acquisition hybrid type thing with Inflection. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We kick off today with a follow-up on a story we've been watching for a while, which is antitrust scrutiny around Microsoft's sort of but not really acquisition of Inflection. This weird new thing has been a big trend in AI for the last year or so, where a big tech firm, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google have all done this recently, hires the founders of a big startup, licenses the technology, and then invites some but not all of the employees to come over and join. Now, in the case of Microsoft's sort of but not really acquisition of Inflection, a big chunk of the team really did come over. The way that the deal was structured, it paid back investors, but it's not like they got a big return or anything. We've recently seen other deals like this, most notably Google's recent deal with Character AI. And as I've discussed previously, I think that these types of deals have fairly significant implications for, if nothing else, the enthusiasm with which people will sign up to work with AI startups. If the norm becomes that startups are simply a junket for founders to get a big payday, but no one else makes money, it's not really going to be a sustainable situation. Now, the speculation has, of course, been that a big part of the motivation for this is to avoid antitrust scrutiny. That particularly in the area of AI, which already has so many factors making it more concentrated, the big tech firms are worried about picking off smaller competitors, or particularly what governments will think if they hire those smaller competitors. The UK had been looking into Microsoft's specific deal with Inflection in an examination that started back in July. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority ultimately decided that even before it was acquired, Inflection had only a very small portion of the UK chatbot market and didn't really have a meaningful chance to be a competitive player long-term in that space. The conclusion then was that the deal did not require a deeper investigation. Of course, the question becomes, if that's the conclusion that someone like the CMA came to, wouldn't that apply if Microsoft had acquired the company outright? Now, ultimately, of course, Inflection could have just made a decision that this was the best deal that they were going to get, and it might be a situation where it's very easy to armchair quarterback it from the outside. But all in all, good news for Microsoft, who obviously didn't want to get stuck in legal mire when it comes to this deal, which really restructured their AI team in general. Microsoft, it seems, has enough to be dealing with when it comes to AI. A recent report from The Information suggests that the Copilot software in the Office suite has had something of a challenging time getting customers excited. The Information writes that, quote, so far, only a small portion of Microsoft's business customers have adopted Copilot. Between 0.1 and 1% of the 440 million existing users of Microsoft 365 are also paying for the new AI features. Now, notably, that's an equity analyst estimate. That's not direct numbers from Microsoft. Still, that translates to somewhere between 400,000 and 4 million paid seats. Competitors are swarming to encourage the narrative, it seems, as well. On a quarterly earnings call last week, Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff said, so many customers are disappointed about what they bought from Microsoft Copilots because they're not getting the accuracy and the response that they want. Microsoft has disappointed so many customers with AI. The silver lining is that the companies that The Information spoke to seem to be in it for the long haul. One chief information officer that they spoke to, for example, said, so far we've had mixed results. Most people don't find it that valuable right now, but it's a product that's going to improve over time. Staying in the UK for a moment, the US, the European Union, and the UK have signed the world's first legally binding international AI treaty. It's the Council of Europe's AI Convention and makes signatories accountable for harms and discrimination that come from AI systems. It mandates that the outputs of AI systems respect citizens' equality and privacy rights and gives the victims of AI rights violations legal resources. Specific consequences, however, are yet to be put in place. Now, although the treaty is legally binding, it certainly seems like something that is largely symbolic rather than legally significant. If anything, I think it reflects the continuing interest that the world has in trying to create some sort of regulatory systems around this new field. Moving into the enterprise, Anthropic has announced Claude Enterprise, which they call its biggest new product since Claude debuted in the first place. One of the big updates is that Claude Enterprise has a much bigger context window than previously. It'll allow clients to upload documents that are the equivalent of 130-minute sales conversations, 100,000 lines of code, or 15 full financial reports. Anthropic has been on a tear recently, pushing out new features including artifacts, as well as new workspace tools. Salesforce has made an acquisition in the AI space, acquiring AI voice agent developer Tenix, which they say will, quote, extend Salesforce's existing autonomous agent capabilities for Service Agent by integrating Tenix's innovative voice AI solution specifically tailored for service use cases. TLDR, the enterprise world is continuing to move aggressively towards an AI agent paradigm, and that's happening both top-down from big companies as well as bottom-up from startups. Speaking of, a cool startup that I've been noticing recently that just hit the news waves is a company called Paradigm, which is making a bet on agents to change the way that we use spreadsheets. There are a bunch of really interesting projects in this space, and it's something that we're watching closely. For now, though, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition. Next up, the main episode.